Hello, guys, Marvelous here, and welcome to another episode in Power Platform Simplified. So, today I'll show you how to undo approval response when you use a sequential approval. Now, this is my flow. I have a manual trigger where I use a sequential approval that two users who are going to be approving. So now let me do a demo. You notice this is just a straightforward flow that I use a sequential approval. The first approval is me, second one is Rosemary, then I key in the name from my manual trigger. After it triggers, I want it to add a new row. I have a table here named sequential that's going to key in all those data from the approver. Then once after it approves, I want it to send a mail. All right. Now there's something I want to take note here. Now let me do it. Let me run a test so you can understand what I'm trying to point out here when you use a sequential approver. Okay, when you use a sequential approval, there's a way you undo the approval response. If you want to use it from dynamic content compared to the way we do it in our normal basic approval, whereby you use first to respond and you select probably the approval's email, the approval coming from dynamic content. But when you use a sequential approval, selecting the approval email, approval name, approval comment from dynamic content, it's slightly different a little bit. I'll show you why. Now this is a manual trigger. Now let me run a test so you can understand what I'm trying to point out here. Okay, so let me run a test manually. Test. So let me just use 703 as the name. Then I run flow. So just pay close attention. Now the flow triggered successfully. Now let me wait for the approval. Now you see the approval came in. Now let me provide a comment like 703 solutions as a comment. Then I approve. Then the second approval gets sent to Rosemary again. So now that is done. Now let me log in as Rosemary. This is Rosemary. Yeah, this is the Teams. I'll be approving this using the browser. This is it. Yeah. So this is it. Okay. So that's a sequential approval. It is step by step. Can you see step one approved by which is me. Step two now is pending, which is Rosemary dollar. Now let me use this as the seven. The reason why I'm making a comment so you can know what I'm trying to talk about. See now, Rosemary also approves. Now after it approves, after the approval, a mail also will be sent to me. Now there's something I want you to notice here. Yeah, good. Notice that the mail came in twice, right? See, the mail, this is just the Microsoft part of the approval. Now, notice the mail came in twice. Can you see? And I want it to just be once, not twice, because just a single approval, just one. I don't want it to be twice. See, the mail came in twice. See, it's first sent the mail for I when I approve. This is me. Second approval, which is Rosemary. It's sent separately. Why? And why did we get these two email address? That is because I'm using a sequential approval of two different users. And in my flow here, you notice in this send a mail, it's inside for each action, which is to loop through for each action. So it sends the mail separately per approval. So that means if I have 5 approval in that sequential, the mail is going to come in 5 times, and that's not a good approach. I just want the mail just be once, then I capture the names of all the approval, their comments, and their email in just one email. So, and how do we do that? So now, instead of we just selecting it like we normally do like this, let me edit this flow. Instead of we usually do in our first respond, Qatar I did see. I just pick the comments from the dynamic content, the approval email, and the approval names. Then I did this also in the add a new row, the comments, email. Now let me check my table. You see it's going to add that table twice as well. Let me go back here. Let me come back here. Come to sequential. Now just hang on a second. You see? Can you see? the table was added twice. That's per approver. Can you see? It was added twice per approver. But this is not what I want. I just want it to just be one row, not twice. So how do you undo this kind of scenario? So to do that, what you're gonna do is instead of trying to just pick the dynamic content straight from the approval response into for each action. Now, what you're going to do is after this start and wait for approval, before this start and wait for approval, we can initialize a variable where I will store the approver's email, the approval comment, and the approver's name. Then after I initialize a variable, then I use that variable inside my email address and also an add row. Now let's see it in action. So now I want to initialize a variable. This is how you undo the response when you use a sequential app, because in my previous video, my previous blog post, I did a step-by-step guide on how to add attachment sequential approval and how to use sequential approval. So if you are yet to see it, I'll leave a link in the description so you can go watch it, and now you can see how you can use a sequential approval. Check the description, there's a link in the description, and I'll leave a link to my blog where you can read the step-by-step guide. So now I will initialize a variable. I'm going to call of type array, because the response is going to be in an array format. After the start, after the approval, after the approval response is going to be in an array format. So I need to initialize a variable called array. So let's call this one, let me say let's call this email, right? Email. So now name this var approval email. All right. So I'll name this var approval email. This I want to save the approval's email. Then I'll leave it empty. All right. Then I'll initialize another variable again. I'll initialize another variable. I'll initialize another variable again of type array, of that same type array, and I'll name this one var approval name. Leave it empty. Let me call this var name. Call this var name. I will initialize another variable again to save the comments. Initialize a variable again. Name this one var approval comments of array. All right. So once that is done, when you select your next and you click the next thing you're going to, when you click on the next thing you're going to do is you append to array variable. All right, you append to an array variable. When you click on append to an array and you select the name of the variables you've initialized in the previous step. Let me use this as an example. Then the value to be the email address of the approver. When I select this, notice it's automatically inserted into for each action, which is to loop through. So that is how you begin. Then the next step you append again, append. But let me delete this. So that's how I was able to that's how I arrived at all this. Now let me begin to append all these variables one by one. So now for the approval name, the value is going to be the name of the approver. All right, can you see? Response is approver name. The name of the approver. All right, the name of the approver. Then the next thing is going to be the email of the approver as the value. Let me just search email. And the next step is going to be the approver's comment. Now this is going to be slightly different. Why? I don't know. It's just what I want to do. I want to grab the name of the approver. Then after the name, there should be full column. Then followed by the comment the approver made. All right, so how do I do that? I will insert an expression, with this fx. I will insert an expression. So in the value, I will insert an expression to concatenate. Concat means to concat because it's coming as an array. Do I need to concat everything to be string? All right, concat. All right, then write down to inside this concatenate. Let me press enter for this first. Inside this, I'll go to dynamic content, check the name, this is the approval name. All right, and after this approval name, I want to add full column. All right, that means full column. So and I also want that if no comment is made by any approver, I want to show no comment provided. All right, then slash, command. Then I will encode this inside if function. If, then inside the if empty. If what is empty? If comment is empty, you see, if empty, I want you to, so if empty, if this is empty, if this is empty, I want you to give me to show no comment provided. That means the approver did not give any comment. All right, no comment provided. Else, but if the comment is provided, insert the comment of the approver. So concat the name of the approver, then add full column followed by the comment the approver gave. But if it is empty, if the comment is empty, I want you to show no comment provided. All right, so then I close this, and that's how then I add. Okay, so that is it. So now the next thing I'm going to do is, now you might say, next thing I want to do is, now I want to insert a new row inside this. I want to grab this approval comments. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to grab those variable I initialized as the approval comment name and email. Now you might say, okay, you might want to select it from dynamic content. Notice is not showing from dynamic content. That is when you need to grab it using an expression. Why? Because this the variable they return and they are being saved in an array. So and this row expects a string, not an array. So how do I get that? So I can go to the expression. I need to join. Okay, join. What did I want to join? And I come to dynamic content, join. Yeah, can you see now it's coming as these are the variable. Join approval email. So I want to join it with, to just show something like this semicolon after each email, semicolon the next email. All right, and I can even decide, probably I want to make it to be in a list format, like one after the to be on top of each other, not in a single text straight line. I want it to be, that's why my column type, remember my column type here is, my data type here is multi-line, right? Remember our data type here is multi-line text, multi-lines of text. Now this is why I made this multi-line of text is, I don't want it to be in a straight line like this. I want it to show lists in a list format. So how do I do that? So there's something we call decode URI component inside using an expression. So what I'm going to do is, yes, so I've got to decode, can you see this? Decode URI component. Okay, decode URI component. This decode URI component means add, it's is the browser to know, okay, this decoder URI component means it's a line breaker to add the next data coming in, make it to be in another line. Okay, that's the meaning of this decode URI component. So after that, I want to use a expression called decode URI component, and inside this decode URI component, what I'm going to do is I'll add this percentage 0a, capital letter here, sorry, a, then I close this. All right, so this decode URI component means add a line breaker to go to the next line. That's the meaning of this. So that's when you want to add a new row, you use an expression to grab that variable and use a decode URI component to make it so that it serves as a line breaker to go to the next line. Okay, then I had this. Is that a comment? Oh, sorry, this is for email. Just copy this. This is for email. Just okay, let me go to email. This for email address function. Then paste this, add. So same for comment. I use the join. You need to always join it, okay? Join. So in dynamic content, that's the approval comment, command, then decode URI component. I don't know why this is okay. Comment. Let me go back to this. Comment. Go to join. This was a variable. Approval comment, comma, decode URI component. So this is to a bracket too. Apostrophe percentage 0a. So you had next is approval name. I want to use that same as approval name. Join this, the approval name, comma, decode URI component, parenthesis, percentage, sorry, apostrophe, percentage 0a. Then you are, don't worry, every formula used in this video is going to be on my blog, so you can copy and paste and use it wherever and use it in your flow. Okay, the expression I used, the join expression, the approval comment where I concatenate it, it's going to be on my blog. I'll leave a link to my blog in the description so you can go there and copy the expressions I used. Okay, so the next thing is I want to send a mail. Okay, let me delete this. I don't need this anymore. The next thing is after the row has been added, I want to send a mail. Okay, now inside the mail, since I already have this data already on this in this table, all I just need is just grab it from the table, not from the outcome of the response. Okay, so you got the logic now. So the approval, I'm just going to go to approval, the name. This is the approval name. The comments, go to the comments. Email, go to the email. So can you see? So with this now, the email is just going to come once, not twice, because I already grabbed everything I need from the outcome of the response, save it as a variable, then use it in my next step. So this is just an idea you can use. You can use it in any way, probably in any, depends on how your flow is developed. So all you just need to do is initialize a variable first, append to those variable whatever you want to extract from the outcome of the response of the approval. Is it their email, the name, the comment they made, probably the time, the date. You save them as a variable, then use it in your next actions. So that's the logic behind it when you use a sequential approval. Now let's run a test. Let me save this. save this and run a test. Okay, now let me test. So manually test. So name, let me just use 703 tech. Then you run flow. Now the flow run. Now the approval should kick in now. Now let me check my approval. Yeah, the approval came in. Now let me provide it. Now for this, note, I'm not going to provide comment for this one, which is the first I'm not going to provide comment for this. Then so notes I did that if no comment is provided, just add no comment provided. So I'm not going to provide comment for this. I will just approve. But in the second approval, I'm going to provide a comment so it can be different. So the next thing I'm going to do is, where's the second approval? Okay, that's going to be here. Okay. So this I'm going to provide a comment as 703 solutions. Okay, then I approve too. Now the email should kick in now. Let me check my mail. Now this is my email. So this is just the one that came in at. This is just for the approval. I already done this. You see, I already done this. Now can you see the mail only came in once, which is this? Can you see? The mail only came in once. Can you see? Approvers, which is I was the first approver, then the second approver. Comment, marvelous or motor show. Sorry. Then the comments, marvelous or motor show. I didn't provide the comment that you saw. No comment provided. Then Rosemary Dolacco provided this as a comment. Then the approval email. Can you see? This is the first email, second email. Can you see how I was able to get? Now let me go back to my data source. Let me go back to my data source. Let me refresh and see how. Can you see the data are only added just once, not twice in our previous. And when we first did the test, see just once, it came in once. Now if I was able to view this in a form, you will see that it's going to be in a new line. Even by hovering my mouse over it, can you see it's in a new line? That is added as a list. Can you see in a new line? And if I go to the approval email as well, you see in a new line. If I go to approval comments, you see they are added in a new line. So if I view this in a, for that, because I don't have a form attached to this table yet, I don't have a form. If I just go to say new using form, so can you see in a new line? So this guy is going to show on a form. If I'm able to, if I happen to view this data in a form, it's going to be as a list. It's not going to be in a straight line text. So that's the function of that the code URI component as a line breaker. So I hope this helps someone on that development journey. Let's keep automating, keep building solution, and I'll see you in my next episode. Peace out.